Hi, I'm Eileen, and this is my second video for TED class at the Miami Valley School. And this week our assignment was a little different in that we had to get the book Strength Finder 2.0 by Tom Rath, and that's a picture of the book right there. And then we were to go online and enter the little access code inside to register to take the strengths test. So it's this test, and there's two sides of the bar for each question, and then it gives you a situation and you answer how you would react to it based on where on that bar you fall. And they give you only 30 seconds to answer each one, so it doesn't really give you a chance to manipulate what your results might be. So I took it last week, and my top 5 strengths ended up being ideation, strategic, achiever, restorative, and activator. So here it shows you your top 5 strengths. And then on the next pages, it gives you little descriptions for each one. So these are a couple. And then along with your descriptions, it gives you questions on how you can kind of challenge yourself to see how you feel you should use your strengths. And then as you go on into the report, it gives you an application section, and it tells you how they, based on their program, think you should be using your strengths. So, based on my strengths, I was actually really, really surprised. So I'm going to go through and tell you what my strength was, how I feel I can use it, and then what some potential dangers could be for my strength. So the first one is ideation, and I was actually shocked at this, but this is my strongest strength, because I have always felt not very creative, and I always feel like I depend on others for creativity purposes. And going through this, I kind of started to see how I am creative, because it says that I like having different ideas, and I'm really stimulated by, stretching thoughts and different theories on things, and I really like to connect everything that I learn together, and that other people don't always have this ability to connect things so easily. And it's definitely like one of my favorite things to do is, take in new information and see how I can connect it and how I can apply it to my own life. So the thing that I thought was actually a weakness is actually one of my strengths. So that was really, really, really cool. And one of the downfalls to this strength is that other people may not be able to, comprehend the different ideas that I create or that I try and portray to them. So then it might cause me to get frustrated because others don't always understand me as well as I understand myself. But that's definitely something that I'll keep an eye on as I head on in the future. And my next strength is strategic. So this is saying that I take time to fully reflect everything that happens in my life, and then I try to kind of analyze happenstances to determine what's going to happen in the future, which I totally do. I notice this all the time. I just always thought it was a weakness instead of a strength. And one time I actually had a friend tell me that it's impossible that anyone could see different outcomes of situations, because I was telling them, like in order to succeed in my goals in life, I try and see different outcomes for choices and situations, and they told me, like, that's not possible, no one can do that, you're full of it. So it's really cool to see that one thing that was taken to be a weakness or not even a possible strength is actually a strength of mine. And this is a huge, huge strength, because I know how to make mistakes in my mind before they actually happen, or see how a certain thing that I want to do in my life may not benefit me for the future, and the way of, like, if I take on an extra project or an extra job or something like that. But one thing that can be a huge, huge downfall in this strength is if I waste too much time thinking and then I don't actually do, or I get too caught up in my head instead of actually doing something about thinking, and then I could just be wasting my time overthinking everything. And then my next strength is achiever. And Achiever is saying that I work as hard as possible to get everything done in the best way that I feel I can, and I totally see this because whenever I really like doing something, I like doing it to the fullest, and I really like getting things done and being productive. But one thing with this is that I can only sometimes be productive about things I care about, and then other things that I don't care about, I don't really try and achieve as well. So that's definitely something to look out for. And I really like the feeling of satisfaction after having something done, and I like feeling gratified for all of the work that I've put into something and rewarded. Um, so I notice that I can be a perfectionist a lot, and I feel like this strength probably has a lot to do with that. So it's kind of cool to have something to describe why I've had this perfectionism, and it's definitely something that I need to work on too. And my next strength is restorative. And this one surprised me the least of all because I'm really into problem solving, and that's what a restorative person does. They try to solve problems and analyze different situations to figure out why things happened. And I'm very into that, and I always try and look in other people's lives to try and fix their problems, and then I like to fix my problems too. But a downfall to this strength is that I can spend too much time worrying about other people's problems that I can't fix instead of worrying about my own, and I need to keep an eye out on that. And then I also need to not worry all the time because sometimes being restorative, I worry too much about what outcomes of things might be instead of just living, or I try to plan too much instead of going with the flow. And sometimes going with the flow is good. And even afterwards, sometimes I just won't let something go until I totally figure out why it happened instead of just accepting the fact that it happened and I can't do anything about it. So those are definitely some things to think about in taking on this strength. And then my last one is activator. And this one really surprised me because I felt like I used to have a weakness for being an activator. And an activator is someone who turns their ideas into actions. And instead of just saying, I'm going to do this with my life, I'm going to do that, they actually do everything possible to make it happen. And when I was younger, this was definitely something that I didn't do, but it's always something that I felt like I was striving for to actually achieve things that I started. So I totally see this now in my life because looking back at this last year of school and then the year to come, there are so many things that people told me, you really think you can do that? That seems, kind of impossible. There's so much that you'd have to do in order to make that happen, and I've done so many of those things and actually accomplished them. And I've proved so many people wrong that there are these things that seem impossible, but they're actually possible. It might just take a little extra push. And one of the downfalls to this could be that if I spend too much time trying to, I don't know, prove somebody wrong or try and do something just because I feel like I need to do it and I need to get it done, I could be wasting my time from other ideas. So rather than having to feel like I need to be active on every idea, I should learn how to just focus on ones that I feel are the most important and put my effort and kind of compartmentalize my effort into one thing instead of everything that I'm thinking, which I've gotten better at. I used to always, try and throw my time into all of my ideas, but I'm starting to kind of find where my niche is. So yeah, and after looking at what their ideas for action were, they were very similar to what I had already had for myself. So I feel like I'm going to be headed on a good path, and I'm really looking forward to using my strengths to my benefit and having words for the thoughts that I've had and, kind of a way to describe everything that I've felt my whole life. So thank you again, Strengths Finder 2.0 and Tom Rath and the company Gallup for making this available, and it's a great resource. I encourage people to use it. It's really cool. So thanks.